welcome back. I am going to give this AI generated crochet pattern challenge another go. This time I've asked for Snowflake. I've asked for an advanced pattern to see if we can get something a bit more interesting. This time I'm going to stick with the yarn and hook size that they recommend, which this time is a 4-ply yarn and a 3.5 to 4mm hook. So I am using Drops Saffron, which is 100% cotton, which is a 4-ply weight, and a 3.5 hook. So let's get going. This pattern says it uses special stitches, the picot, which will be a chain 3 and a slip stitch into the first chain. It will be using a cluster, which is 3 double crochet cluster. So you yarn over, insert hook in the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and do that 3 times, and then finally you yarn over and then pull through all the loops. Then we have front post double crochet, a back post double crochet, and a popcorn, which is work 5 double crochet in the same stitch, remove the hook, insert into the first double crochet and pull the drop loop through. That's nice and simple. So let's get going. Round 1, let's give this a go. Right, so it wants us to chain 6. Let's get a slip knot on the hook. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and slip stitch to form a ring. Then chain 3, which will count as a double crochet, and then 2 double crochet, and then chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 5 more times. So I shall do that and I shall be right back. Chain 2. Well, I've done my 5 lots of 3 double crochet, chain 2. Now I shall join it to the first chain 3. Oh, let's get that tail out the way, and that is our round 1. For round 2, slip stitch into the next double crochet with slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So move over to the chain 2 space, then 3 double crochet cluster, chain 5 and 3 double crochet cluster, all in the same space. So I'm assuming we need to chain 3 for the first double crochet, and then we do another unfinished double crochet and then all 3 loops. That's our cluster. Then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then another cluster, a full cluster. So you do an unfinished double crochet and another unfinished double crochet, then a last double crochet unfinished there, and then you yarn over and pull through all those loops. And then it wants us to do that in each chain 2 space around. It says repeat from star to star, but they've not obviously told us what the star to star is, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So I shall go around and do 3 double crochet cluster, chain 5, 3 double crochet cluster into each chain 2 space, and then I'll come back at the beginning. Right, this is the end of round 2. I've joined it to the top of the very first cluster. Let's move on to round 3. So it wants us to slip stitch into the chain 5 space, and then chain 4, which counts as a treble, double crochet, half double crochet, chain 3, half double crochet and treble. And then in the space, I assume, yes. So double crochet, half double crochet, chain 3, then mirror that, half double crochet, oh, slipped out, double crochet, and then a treble all into that space, then chain 2, and then do that in each space around with a chain 2 between, which is treble, 1, 2, a double crochet, a half double crochet, chain 3, half double crochet, oh, yarn's catching, double crochet, and then a treble. And finish that off with a chain 2, and then repeat that in each space around. I shall be back when I've gone all the way around. Well, here is the end of round 3. Yeah, it's looking all right. Doesn't look very snowflakey yet, but we'll keep going. So round 4, it says it adds lattice and picots. Interesting. Right, slip stitch into first chain 3 space. So let's just slip stitch across this little cluster here, and then into the chain 3 space, single crochet. So I'll do a chain 1 first before that. So single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, picot. What do they say a picot was? Bear with me. Picot, chain 3, slip stitch into the first chain. 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that first of the 3, and then another chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then single crochet again, and that gives us a little, I don't know if you can see that, slide that down so we can lay it out, and that gives us a little point with our picot on top. So that's what we do in the chain 3 spaces, which is at the center of each of these clusters, and then in between the clusters, the chain 2 spaces, we single crochet, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and single crochet. So that is the chain 2 spaces, and the picot is in the chain 3 spaces. So chain 3 spaces has the picot, and the chain 2 space has the chain 7. So I'll go through that with you one more time. So the chain 3 spaces, which is in between the little clusters, we will do a single crochet, then we would chain 5. Then to do the picot, we will need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we want to slip stitch into the first of those 3, and then we will do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then back down into that chain 3 space and do a single crochet to fix it all down. And then in the chain 2 spaces, we will do a single crochet, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back down to do a single crochet, and that will be the repeat around. So starting to maybe get a bit snowflakey now. Yes, so I shall do that all the way around and I shall be back. Well, here is the end of round 4. It's looking a little bit of a mess, but we shall carry on and see what round 5 brings. Right, so let's give round 5 a go. This is for the outer spikes with post work. So slip stitch until you reach the chain 5 before the picot. But here's the picot, here's the chain 5, so I guess then we just slip stitch into there. Chain 1, single crochet in first chain 5 space. Yep, chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Slip stitch in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip stitch in 4th chain from the hook. Chain 3, 2, 3. Slip stitch back in the same chain again. Chain 3, and then slip stitch back in that chain. Oh, that's going to be a bit packed, that stitch. Oh, let's try you again. And slip stitch back in there. And that should give us a triple branch made. 1, 2, and 3. Kind of. We'll go. And then chain 2, single crochet back in the chain 5 space. Let's have a look at that. That doesn't look too good, does it? But we shall persevere. In the chain 5 space after the picot, single crochet. Single crochet. How do we go about there then? Do we just, I'm not sure how, do we have to slip stitch over there? It doesn't tell us how to move from this side to that side. Let's go behind it or before it maybe. So it wants us to single crochet. Oh, let's go over here. No, that's not right, is it? How are we meant to move over without it looking silly? Let's read it again. So chain 1, single crochet in the first, chain 5 space, chain 6, and then we've got the triple branch made, chain 2, single crochet back into the same chain 5 space. Then after the picot, let's try like that and see what we do. Let's do that, and it twists it, doesn't it? I might bring it down actually. That might look nice. We'll just carry on like that then. That seems to be doing something. 1, and this is chain 5, 3, 4, 5. Then we want a picot, which is chain 3, 2, 3, slip stitch, chain 3, and then it's twisting, and then single crochet back in that space. Now that seems weird and complicated. Let's move it out of the way. And what have we got? Does that have to be poking down now? That might work. So there's a lopsided picot, and that's meant to be a 3 branched picot. Yeah, slowly, it's kind of there, isn't it? Right, in chain 7 space, which is here, single crochet, chain 3, front post around, chain 3, treble. Hang on, let's go over there and work that as we go, because It's confusing me. Right, so into the chain 7 space. So single crochet, chain 3, front post double crochet around round 3 treble. Oh, down here, round 3 treble. So front post double crochet around round 3 treble. Yes, we can do that. Chain 3, single crochet in the same arch, which is here. Ooh, interesting. That's looking a bit interesting. So that's that and that's that. Let's do that again. What we repeat entire sequence around. So chain 1 in this next space. But we'll do this one again, then chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Slip stitch in 4th chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we want to chain 3 and then slip stitch back in that chain. Very slippery, this yarn. And then chain 3 again and slip stitch back in it, and then slip stitch back in there. Let's pull it a bit tighter, and then chain 2 and then single crochet back in that side of the chain 5. Then we want to single crochet over here. I found if I push it to the back and it pushes it down, that worked nicely last time. So single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then a picot, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into there, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back down into that chain 5. Move over to the chain 7 space, and that is single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, front post double crochet all the way down here, and then we want to do a front post double crochet around that one, chain 3 again, and then single crochet back in that same space. And that is our pattern that we need to, let's bring that out a bit. There is, that brings that one down, that brings that up, that brings that down. That is our pattern repeat. It's a bit tricky to follow, but I shall write the pattern into the description box below so that you can have a written copy to follow, as I am sure my mumblings aren't that easy to follow. But I shall continue doing this repeat and I shall be back when I get to the end. Well, I somehow made it round to the end, I should say, of round 5, although I think I've made a mistake. I think I should have joined to the first treble crochet rather than the first one. I don't know. Well, never mind. We're going to have a slightly off-center snowflake. It's individual, like every snowflake is. Right, the final round 6. Let's see how this brings it all together. It says, work a subtle edging to refine the shape. So in every single crochet of previous round, single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into first chain, tiny picot and single crochet. So where are my single crochets? Let's have a little look. It asks 2, so in every single crochet, single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into first chain, fiddly, which should give us a tiny picot, and then single crochet again back into the same single crochet. That's quite sweet. Yes. And then what do we do around? It doesn't tell us how to move between the stitches. So it goes next in each front post double crochet, work a back post around the same front post to raise it further. So let's have a go at slip stitching. If I can get into these stitches, they're a bit tight. No, I'll come back when I get back to the next single crochet. I've made it back to the next single crochet, so we'll do that little thing again. So we do a single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in the first to give a tiny picot, as they call it, and then single crochet back down there. And then I shall slip stitch across again until the next single crochet. Bear with me. If you can see, that kind of stiffens up the edge, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not too bad. Right, let's keep going. Right, we're in the next single crochet here, so I'll do a single crochet in there, chain 2, slip stitch into the first of those chains, and then single crochet again. And then we can jump straight over to the next single crochet and do that again. So single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the first of those chains, and then single crochet again. And that will give us our little mini of mini picots. Stiffen it up a bit. Yeah, right, so let's have a look what we do for the front post spine. So work a back post double crochet around the same front post to raise it further. Let's have a look then. Right, double crochet, so it wants us to do a back post. Did that raise it further? Well, assume it did. And then into the single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, single crochet. So that's what I shall do all the way around. Shall single crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into the first of those chains, and I shall slip stitch through any chains, and then when I get to the front post double crochet, I shall do a back post double crochet around that, and I should do that all the way around, and I shall be back and we shall see the finished product. Wish me luck. Well, this is round 6 finished and the whole snowflake finished. It's quite pretty actually. I like it more than I thought I would. A bit of blocking and maybe a soak in some PVA glue and water to stiffen it up. That'd make a pretty little decoration for the Christmas tree. Maybe sprinkle some silver glitter on it. Yeah, I like that. Maybe that was a successful attempt at an AI crochet pattern after all. I shall ask it for some more snowflakes and I might make a few. Anyway, I hope that was interesting for you and I hope that you enjoyed this pattern. Please come back again. So yeah, please like if you can. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.